Back to, of course, today's top story, which is the split between the Liberals and the Nationals. Now, you heard before from the Nationals leader David Littleproud and Liberal MP Tony Passon. And I should note as well that we invited Sussan Ley, the opposition leader, to be on this program tonight, and she declined. She hasn't even done a press conference. Her only media appearance has been on Sunrise this morning. And we asked a whole slew of other senior Liberals to come on too, and they all said they weren't available. So it seems as though the Libs have gone to ground for a little while, at least after this morning. But it would seem pretty clear that Ms Ley's leadership is terminal, though, of course, she says she is not going anywhere.
Okay,
holding the
we're
government
not
to account.
going to talk about the government, Sussan. We're talking about
You've asked me about the government.
I'm talking about your leadership, and so is the nation.
But
you
my
are
leadership...
in trouble. Will you survive as leader?
Yes, I will, but I want Australians to know that what we did this week that caused the subject matter of the headlines was to work hard to address and have the reckoning this country needs to on eradicating anti-Semitism and removing radical Islamic extremism.
Will you be leader this time next month?
Yes, I will, and I'm backed by my Liberal Party in the decisions that I've made to date.
Look, it seems hard to believe, but I suppose she would say that. She can hardly say, you know, I'm going to have my bum on the backbench in a few weeks' time, so sayonara, but let's be realistic. The coalition has now split up twice on her watch. There are no Liberals in government without a coalition. It's as simple as that. They can't win 76 seats on their own, or they're certainly highly unlikely to, bar some sort of miracle. They've lost 34 seats at the past two federal elections, while the Nats haven't lost a lower house seat since 2007. They lost Andrew Gee, who went independent, but that's it. They haven't gone to an election and lost a lower house seat. So electorally, they seem to be a fair bit more successful at the moment. And while it is true that the Liberal leadership is not a matter for the Nationals, they don't get to pick the leader of the Liberal Party, and in the coalition, the Liberal Party is the bigger party. But they do have to respect each other in order to have a working relationship. And that respect clearly is not there. Ms Ley also doubled down on accepting the resignation of the three National senators who voted against the hate speech bill.
Because while Australians sometimes might question what is shadow cabinet solidarity, I want to explain it like this. When the team comes together and makes a decision, the team should stick to that decision, particularly when it reflects the values that I've just spoken about. And that's a simple fact. Now, where we go from here is the same for me as it's always been, focusing on working hard, holding the Labor Party to account, holding the government to account, recognising all along that the coalition is stronger together.
Well, of course, the coalition is stronger together, but it ain't together, and it's not going to be together at any cost, clearly. It didn't have to split up, I don't think. The Nationals ultimately made the decision in their party room that they would not support the bill. Now, that was an exceedingly late decision made on the basis that they wanted further changes that didn't get up. And no doubt that angered and to some degree blindsided Ms Ley, who thought she had secured the coalition support, not just the Liberals. So then comes the tussle between cabinet solidarity and party solidarity. The shadow cabinet had decided much earlier than the Nats party room decision that they would support the change laws. Now, what were Bridget McKenzie and Susan McDonald and Ross Cadell meant to do? I mean, I guess they could have abstained, like many of their colleagues did in the lower house, but they couldn't really vote for it after the party room decision. So they voted against it. And Mr Littleproud then set it up as a challenge by writing to Ms Ley and threatening that all the front benchers would walk if the senators were sacked. So Ms Ley then thought she needed to assert her leadership, and she sacked them. And, well, here we are. Now, as has been explained throughout the week, there is precedent for Nationals front benchers voting differently to their Liberal colleagues and not losing their positions, as they did in 2008 on deregulation of the wheat market. Now, there surely could have been, should have been, a middle ground where Ms Ley kind of let this slide but severely upbraided the Nationals, you know, don't do it again. Maybe a bit more than a slap on the wrist, but don't do it again. It's not like it made a difference to the passing of this bill anyway. It wasn't changing anything. But this discussion, it should be said, is all a bit academic, really. What's done is done. And what is abundantly clear is that the Prime Minister cannot believe his luck. This is a gift from heaven. Labor's greatest asset is the coalition. Or I suppose I should more accurately say Labor's greatest asset was the coalition, given it's now been blown up. Anthony Albanese spoke to ABC Perth this morning.
They certainly don't like each other, but they also don't like each other within their parties. The Liberals don't like other Liberals, and the Nats don't like other Nats.
Come on, there'll be some in Labor as well.
Some are leaving. We are an extraordinarily united party.
Now, look, Labor certainly does have division, but they are much better at organising. And, of course, they have far less to be divided about when they have 94 seats. And the PM is so cocky about it all that he says he doesn't care.
The coalition are just focused on themselves. It's all about their internals. And, you know, Sussan Ley has been undermined, the first woman leader of the Liberal Party, undermined from day one. And the alternative leaders are worse.
Do you think she'll be the leader when Parliament resumes?
Well, I've given up worrying about what happens with the chaos over there.
Not my monkeys, not my circus. It is extraordinary to think of the month that the Prime Minister has had. He was being hounded by the opposition about his response to Bondi. They had him in a corner. They got the Royal Commission. They were making him look weak. The polls were turning against him. People said he'd done a terrible job of handling it. And in a matter of a few days, it's all been blown up. And the Prime Minister is King Dick again. It's amazing. And you can understand why he would feel this way. I wrote in my column in The Advertiser today, he could well surpass Sir Robert Menzies as the longest-serving Australian Prime Minister. Somewhat facetious, but my God, I mean, just look at the way things are going. A fractured Conservative movement, for so long as the ALP remains unified and doesn't repeat the events of 1955, of course, DLP came about, it makes the task of election that much harder. And you have One Nation polling better than what the coalition or the ex-coalition was, so you throw that in the mix too. So what sort of coalition do you cobble together for a future Conservative government? What combination of One Nation, the Nationals and the Liberals, or all of the above, do you make up for a majority? How successfully would any such government operate? Or do the coalition just get straight back together after Ms Ley goes, which at some point she presumably will? They have to sort themselves out because this just cannot go on. You won't just hand Labor a third term, it'll be a fourth term as well, if you're not careful. Extraordinary to think about, isn't it? And it is clear from One Nation's polling that people are not happy with the coalition, or what was the coalition. One Nation is now the most popular party on the right in this country, almost out of nowhere. So let's hope this whole sorry saga serves as a wake-up call. Otherwise, the Liberal and National parties could disappear up their own backsides, and who knows what happens after that.